Welcome friends to another r/am I the jerk here video. Would you be the jerk for making your own kid eat off of dirty dishes? We'll find out, but first a story from in-law issues. Am I the jerk for throwing them out of a house that we own? Son and future in-laws decide to exclude his family from wedding. They thought son owned the house, not us. My wife and I bought a 4-bedroom house in Pennsylvania that my son lives in. Our son went to college in Pennsylvania and wanted to stay in the area, so we bought the house as a second home. We live in New Jersey and commute into Manhattan for work. We figured that he would have a place to live and we could visit every so often and spend some quality time together. We pay the taxes and services and maintenance on the house. Our son pays for his groceries and the house utilities. All was going well for a few years. Our son meets a girl and they get serious. We met her and she seems nice enough. They announce their engagement and she moves into the house with our son. Now for the problem, the wedding. We hold a little get-to-know-you barbecue at the Pennsylvania house. My son and daughter are there, as are our son's fiancée and her parents and sisters. We all seem to be getting along well. My wife, daughter, and the fiancée go into the house, along with her mother and sisters and my son. A few minutes later, my wife and daughter come out and are really upset. They come over and tell me that we're leaving and driving back to New Jersey. I try to find out what happened. Once we get back to New Jersey and they've calmed down, they tell me that our son and his fiancée, along with her family, don't want us at the wedding. According to what I was told, we're not their kind of people. I was livid. I called my son and asked him what the heck this was about. He tells me that our family feels we're not good enough and will embarrass them at a family wedding, and that we're all uninvited from the wedding. I let a week go by to calm myself down and drive back to the Pennsylvania house. The new future-in-laws are in the house along with the fiancé. It appears that they all moved into the house. They ask why I'm there. I tell them that since we aren't invited to the wedding, I was coming over to talk to my son. They tell me to leave their house. I lost it and told them that they had 30 days to get out. I tell my son that I'm selling the house and he could find somewhere else to live with all of you. I go to a realtor in town and list the house for sale. They call my son at work and tell him what I said. Apparently they thought that he owned the house. He calls me and asks why I'm selling his house. I tell him I paid for it along with the taxes on it, and it's mine. He was living there rent-free, but since he doesn't want us in his new life, he has to get out. I tell him the same as I told his future in-laws. They have 30 days to get out, then I'll get a lawyer and get them evicted. Am I the jerk for taking a hard stance on this? He is my son, but the in-laws seem to take over and we no longer count. I think OP's definitely not the jerk here. I think understandably it would probably be a pretty hard thing to kick your own son out, but I think it's also a pretty hard thing to basically see you and your family get excommunicated from your own son and these in-laws trying to take over. Like, let's be real here, if you were in an OP situation and all these in-laws basically took the son away from you and blocked everybody else in that family and tried to move in and take over a house that you legally own, you'd want to kick them out too, right? Let me know down in the comments. Our next story is from AITA 36. Am I the jerk for giving away all the clothes my daughter's mom bought her? I have primary custody of my daughter, female 14, Leah. She spends every other weekend with her mom. This time when she came back home, she had a bag full of new clothes with her. I asked her about it and she said her mom bought them. I looked at the clothes and they were all dark colors like brown and dark blue, and they were very simple. They were the exact opposite of how my daughter likes to dress. I asked her if she likes them and she said she hates them, but her mom bought these for her and told her she's supposed to wear them instead and doesn't let her wear her own clothes. I took all the clothes and gave them away. Then I called her mom and told her that she shouldn't buy her any clothes anymore unless Leah herself wants it. She got extremely mad at me and yelled at me and said I don't have the right to give away something she bought. She called me a jerk. I told my sister and she said she thinks I was a jerk for doing this and suggested I post this here to see what everyone thinks. Overall, I think OP's not the jerk here. I think the real important thing to focus on here is what makes Leah happy and what Leah wants to wear. I think you could make a very good argument that OP was a jerk for just giving away the clothes rather than just like returning them to the mom. But I think we can pretty much all agree that if you didn't do anything that involved just getting rid of those clothes, you probably would not be contributing to fixing this issue. Our next story is from username 528191001JS. Am I the jerk for telling my niece why I kept a distance from her and her parents growing up? I, 42-year-old male, have a niece Lily, 18-year-old female. Lily is the result of an affair my ex-fiancé had with my brother while we were still together. I was led to believe Lily was mine throughout the entire pregnancy, and almost signed her birth certificate before my ex confessed out of guilt that Lily was probably my brother's. We did a DNA test, and Lily wasn't mine. During my teens, I got into an accident which left me infertile. The doctors said my chances of fathering a child were slim to non-existent. So you can imagine how crushed I felt when I discovered that not only am I not going to be a father, but I was also betrayed by two people I loved. It's been years since, and I did well for myself. I'm the first in my family to attend university, and I landed a high-paying job right after graduation. I own my own business, invest in property, and since I'm both single and childless, I can spend my income however I please. My ex ended up marrying my brother. I'm somewhat cordial towards them, but I can't bring myself to fully forgive them for what they did. And although I know Lily is blameless, whenever I see her, I'm constantly reminded of how I was once overjoyed with holding her in the hospital thinking she was mine. So I can't bear to look at her for too long. I didn't visit her growing up, didn't take her on fun trips, or give her lavish gifts like I did for the rest of my nieces and nephews. I wasn't mean or hateful to her, but I will admit I kept my distance. When my oldest nephew turned 18, I decided that I'll pay for his college education since I could afford it while his parents couldn't. I even rented him one of my apartments for cheap so he wouldn't have to worry about money and could focus on getting his education. Since then, I did the same thing for two of my other nieces. Last week, Lily approached me during a family event and inquired if I could pay for her education. I told her no. She then called me a jerk and asked why I was so distant towards her and her parents to the point where I couldn't even do her the same favor I did for the rest of her cousins. I told her that her parents have enough money to afford her education and asked her how she could possibly expect me to be okay with watching my ex and brother, who had an affair behind my back, play happy family in front of me. After that, Lily got quiet for the rest of the event and left early. I later got a call from my ex yelling at me for ruining her family. Apparently, she and my brother didn't bother telling Lily about what they did to me all those years ago. And now that she knows, she's so angry at them that she decided to go live with her boyfriend's family. I'm starting to feel guilty that I told her the truth since it affected her more than I thought it would. But at the same time, she's grown enough to know the truth, and I don't think I could have lied to her face even if I wanted to. Am I the jerk? Personally, I think OP's not the jerk because this is such a valid feeling for OP, and I think it's only fair to OP to be able to just be honest about why they feel the way they do and why they've been so distant so that it's out there and it's known and it's not this constant ambiguous cold shoulder that Lily otherwise would have no idea what they did to deserve that. Our next story is from Huge Ad 6348. Am I the jerk for getting dressed in a separate cubicle and not together with my husband? So me and my husband wanted to go swimming. When we packed our things, asked if he could put his stuff in my bag. I said that my bag was too small and that I'd prefer to go in a separate cubicle just so I'd have more space. He didn't object. The next day, he ignored me all day and I didn't know why. Eventually, I got him to talk to me via text. He told me that he felt like I didn't care how he felt because I didn't ask for his opinion when I said I wanted a separate cubicle. He said that since we're married, my primary focus should be on him and what he wants and needs. That's what it means to him to be unified in marriage. He said that since I don't care about him like that, that means I don't want to be the one with him and that I didn't marry him out of love. When I asked him why he didn't just tell me instead of ignoring me, he said that it was the only way to get me to pay attention. He felt like I wouldn't take him seriously otherwise. Should I have just asked him for his opinion? Am I a bad wife for wanting to have more space to get dressed? Am I the jerk? I think OP is definitely not the jerk. First of all, wanting more space to get dressed is a very valid reason, and let's put it this way. Does anybody enjoy that game of hard to get? Playing that game of trying to put out subtle signals and hoping they pick up on it? OP should ask their husband, let's say OP has a crush on somebody and wants to know if they feel the same. Would the husband want them to just tell them, hey, they're interested, hey, they have a crush? Or would they rather play the subtle signal game and try to pick up on clues and figure out if they should do something? They would want to just know, right? So maybe next time, if the husband feels slighted in any way, they should just mention how they feel. By the way, if you're enjoying these stories, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below so you never miss any of my daily videos. Every video has awesome stories, like our next one from BTSX Army Love. Am I the jerk for not cutting my hair even though someone told me it was bringing back their trauma? So for context, I have hair that's significantly longer than the average person. I get compliments about it all the time, and even though it's a hassle looking after it, I really do like it. My friend, who we'll call Kate, lost her mother to cancer before we met. I don't know the full story, but apparently she used to have hair as long as mine until she shaved it all off. Kate and I have been friends for long, but I really thought things were good between us until Kate pulled me aside one day to ask me for a favor. I asked her what favor it was, and she said she wanted me to cut my hair to at least just past my shoulders, because it looked too much like her mom's. I thought she was just making a really bad joke, but it turns out she genuinely wanted me to do that. She said it was bringing back her trauma to see my hair, and that she didn't know if she could keep being friends with me, as well as the fact that she really only asked because we were such close friends. She said she wanted to ask from the moment our friendship began, but wanted to wait since it would be weird if she asked then. I told her that I was sorry, but that I wouldn't be doing that. I love my hair. Here's where I might be the jerk. I told her a few reasons as to why I loved having long hair, and one of them was about how much I resembled my mother. Immediately, I felt bad because of the awkward timing of the comment, and tried to tell her that I wasn't making fun of her for not having a mom or anything, but this seemed to make her more mad. She started screaming and crying about how she thought she could trust me and how awful I was for gloating at the fact that my mother is still alive. I tried diffusing the situation, but it clearly wasn't going to work out, so I just ran out. Recently, I've been getting calls and texts from our friends about how disgusting I am, and it turns out Kate told them that I keep reminding her of her mom, and even one said I look more like Kate's mom's daughter than Kate. I've tried explaining the truth, and most of my friends have sided with me, but a few don't believe me and are saying I'm a witch and that I should just cut my hair anyway, along with a comment or two about hopefully I get to experience not having a mother soon. I think OP is definitely not the jerk here. I feel for Kate and all the trauma that they feel and are going through still, but it's just unreasonable to expect anybody around you not to have a certain hairstyle because of deep-rooted trauma that you have. And to be fair to OP, I think some other people really exposed themselves as not being real friends, considering they said they hope OP gets to experience not having a mother soon. If that doesn't tell you who to avoid, then I don't know what will. Our next story is from Comfortable Help 356. Am I the jerk for offending my ex's parents after they try to get us back together? I'm 38-year-old female. I was in a relationship with Mark, 42-year-old male, for 9 years. Mark was a widower with 2 kids when we met. His kids were not able to handle Mark moving on, so we discussed going slow and giving them room to accept it. And if not, when they were both out of the house, we could proceed at a faster pace. I was fine with that because I never wanted to push. So we dated but didn't live together or anything. Mark did therapy with the kids and had them speak to individual therapists to try and help them deal with their grief and to help them understand that he deserved to be happy. The kids were always very distant and cold towards me. I never pushed, but I did attempt to form a bond with them. But it always felt like I was being dismissed. Fast forward to both of them being out of the house, and they'd expressed that they were uncomfortable with visiting the home if I were to move in, and that they wouldn't be able to treat me like part of their family. Mark wanted us to give it a little more time and maybe go out to visit as a couple before things progressed. So a couple of months after that, we went out, along with his parents, to see his kids and to spend time all together. They ignored me for the most part. The one time I wasn't ignored, someone mistook me for their mom, and the younger of the 2 kids snapped at me for not being quicker with my no in response. They attempted to take everyone out for dinner except for me. When the night came, they claimed they could only get a table for 5, not 6, and that it was a family dinner so it should be me left out. It was after this that I realized, despite Mark standing up for me, that I couldn't do it. I told him his kids would never be okay with me and I'd waited for 9 years, and they were still treating me like some pushy intruder who didn't even deserve casual friendliness. He was devastated, his parents were upset, and on and off since our breakup, they were in touch to check on how I was doing. They then tried to set me up on a date with Mark a few weeks ago. I told them they needed to put that to rest because it was not going to happen, that I was moving on with my life, and they needed to let us all do the same because it wasn't healthy for us to be together. They said Mark and I love each other, and I said we did, but that I loved myself enough to not tie myself forever to a man who has kids who will never ever come to terms with his moving on. That I had my dreams of a family, and it wasn't something I would sacrifice or carry out with someone who has family who would treat them badly. They said I was unfairly blaming the kids, and took offense to my not loving Mark enough to endure it. I felt bad because maybe I was too harsh. Am I the jerk? I think OP is definitely not the jerk in this situation. Relationships, especially ones where one partner has moved on from a previous relationship, I think those things can be really difficult and tricky to navigate, and I have a lot of respect for OP for identifying that this situation just doesn't seem to be amicable in a way that would work out for everybody, and just whether it's for OP's sake or Mark's sake or the kid's sake, knowing that not going forward with it is the healthiest thing. Our next story is from AITA X-Child My. Am I the jerk for not putting my boyfriend's name on my house? I really thought this was normal, but so many people are telling me I'm a witch for not doing so that it's starting to mess with my head, to be honest. I recently received a house. My grandmother passed away and left her 2 houses to my sister and I. We sat down, and between the 2 of us decided that she should have the bigger house, as she's married and has 2 kids, and another on the way, while I would move into the smaller 2-bedroom house. My sister's husband's been added to the title of her house as he helped her pay the tax on it. I was able to pay the tax on mine by myself as it was cheaper due to being smaller. Because my boyfriend, 3 years, didn't contribute financially towards it, I didn't think to put him on the title. We had a housewarming party last weekend, and his parents came up to me towards the end of the night and were going on about how lucky boyfriend and I were to be able to live somewhere like this rent-free, and it gives us such a head start in life. And they were very appreciative that I'd given half the house to my boyfriend. I corrected them that I hadn't, and he wasn't on the title, but was welcome to live with me and not pay rent, so that he had more money to put towards his studies. We're both master's students. They immediately became very judgmental, saying that I was being unfair not putting his name on the title, and that clearly I didn't expect the relationship to last, I didn't trust him, etc. I said they were being unfair and he wasn't entitled to half of my family's house, and then walked away. Now, numerous members of his family have messaged me and him saying I'm a witch and I don't trust him and tell him to watch out because clearly I don't love him, etc. Am I the jerk here? OP is definitely not the jerk. This is all insecurity or a desire to honestly get more than they properly deserve. And let's be real, a lot of relationships don't last. One of the most important things you could have is your name on that title alone. In fact, considering how the boyfriend and all of his family acted, I would say to OP to watch their back, because it sure seems like they're wanting to get theirs. Our next story is from Miss Deb 99912. Am I the jerk for telling the bride her choice was inconsiderate? My brother, 27-year-old male, is getting married to his fiancée, 27-year-old female, in September. I, 35-year-old female, was asked to host and plan the bachelorette party with the bride's other future sister-in-law, Becky, 38-year-old female. The party will be a 4-day event in August. Becky and I were asked to take over the planning when one of the bridesmaids dropped the ball. I was also asked to host the party at my house, which is out of state for everyone. My house and my vehicles will be used. There will be a total of 6 of us at the party. Becky and I have been planning this 4-day event for the past 3 months. We've bought party favors and gifts, collected funds from all attendees, made reservations for fun activities, put together an itinerary, etc. We've spent a lot of time, energy, and funds prepping. There's been a few times I've turned down plans or friends visiting the weekend of the party because this is on the calendar. The bride calls me and Becky yesterday and says her grandmother's beach house in her home state has become available that weekend and wants the party to be there instead. She says it's closer for the guests, 4 of the 6 of us, and is where she wanted it originally. She said her cousin, who originally dropped the ball, will take over the planning. The bride says she's been thinking about this for the past month and didn't want to loop us in until she officially decided. When she shared this, I was a bit frustrated, and I told her canceling something like this for a different location was basically pulling the rug out from our feet and being inconsiderate to the fact that Becky and I, A, were asked to take over planning, B, already had everything lined up, C, have spent time and energy coordinating with all the guests, etc. Am I the jerk for calling the bride out on this and calling her decision inconsiderate? The bride said her decision should be hers to make, and that she shouldn't be made to feel guilty. To this, I feel as though she should feel guilty. I do see her side, but her decision to completely change things have already been in the works for a few months to make a very special 4-day trip. Seems crappy. Thoughts? I think OP's definitely not the jerk here, and I think their feelings are very valid and justified. They put in a lot of work, they put in a lot of money, and yeah, the rug was pulled out right from underneath them. Ultimately, I do still think that it should be whatever the bride wants, but honestly, maybe the bride should consider compensating OP a little bit for the money or the work that they did put into this. Like, they totally went and just wasted way too much of OP and their sister-in-law's time. This next story is from AITA Dirty Dishes. Am I the jerk for making my son eat off dirty dishes? This happened 2 months ago, but he's still furious over it. I'm 45-year-old female. I love my oldest son, but he's 17 and acts like it. Our family rotates chores. Cooking, dishes, cleaning, common areas are all done by each family member on different days. My son hates chores and always tries to half-butt it to get out of doing it. It's been a constant battle. Dishes are the worst. He overpacks the dishwasher so the dish detergent can't even get on the dishes. It just catches on whatever pan he shoved in front. He also doesn't rinse the dishes at all, so they come out dirty and caked in food. If we want to eat the day after he does dishes, we end up having to hand wash them. He doesn't care. Any attempt to talk to him is met with a little smirk, and he would say, "But the dishwasher sanitized it." He knows exactly what he's doing. The day after his night to do dishes, I went to cook dinner. All the dishes were in the washer still, filthy. I had worked all day. I was exhausted. I honestly teared up seeing this BS. I didn't have the energy to make dinner, let alone do an entire load of dishes first. I quietly called hubby in, and he offered to hand wash the dishes I needed. Light bulb moment. I told him yes please, but only enough dishes for preparing the food and serving everyone but the 17-year-old. The 17-year-old sat down and saw his setting was empty. He asked where his plate and silverware and water cup was. I pointed at the dishwasher and said, "Tonight, you'll be eating off the dishes you did. Go pick them out." He went pale and started protesting that it was gross. I quickly cut him off and reminded him that the dishwasher sanitized them. Hubby backed me up. If he wants to eat tonight, he will eat off his dishes. He huffed and said he'd wash some, and I said, "Nope, you had your chance to get them clean last night. Eat off them as they are, or don't eat tonight." He yelled and said that he'd make his own food, which I said no. Eventually, he relented and found the least disgusting dishes and ate his dinner quietly. I felt bad. He looked so sick and grossed out, but I was sick of him wasting time and water and detergent. And it worked. His dishes came out spotless after, not a speck. But like I said, he's still furious, and I do feel bad now that it's done and over with. I'm just sick of the weaponized incompetence. He doesn't realize that his laziness screws over everyone else in the house. Am I the jerk? Considering he is 17 years old, I think OP's definitely not the jerk, and I think this is a great learning lesson. They're hardly even a kid anymore. If they committed a serious crime, they would try them as an adult. They're more than old enough to be able to wash dishes properly. This next story is from Psychological Hair 519. Am I the jerk for filing a complaint about a hospital worker trying to touch my baby? Yesterday, I had a doctor's appointment that I had to bring my 7-month son with. The appointment went fine, but afterwards I had to head downstairs to the lab to get some blood drawn. While I'm waiting in line to check in, another woman walks up to me and starts asking about my son. Boy or girl? How old is he? Meanwhile, he's in his stroller sleeping with a blanket over the whole front, so it's darker and gives off the chill sleep vibes inside the stroller. This woman proceeded to lift up the blanket to peek inside at my son. I immediately responded with, in a slightly annoyed tone, "He's sleeping right now. He's been having a rough time with naps during the day, so he was very cranky earlier." which is mom code for "Don't wake up my baby, don't touch my baby." Right after I told this lady that he was sleeping, she looked up at me and said, "Oh, okay," really fast in a hushed tone, then continued to try to stick her hand further in the stroller under the blanket, like she was just gonna be quiet now instead of taking the hint. So at that point, I was mad and snapped. "Don't touch my baby, I don't know you and I already said he's sleeping." She had the nerve to tell me it was okay because she worked there at the hospital. That just made me even more mad, so I asked her, "So then are you here to draw my blood too since you work here and you can do everything?" She then said how rude that was and how she just wanted to congratulate me on my baby. She told me that it was a shame motherhood didn't turn me into a sweet person who wanted to show off and brag about my baby like it does for everyone else. As she walked away, the counter opened up for me to check in, and I asked to file a complaint about her being so rude and trying to touch my baby. The woman at the counter said I could and would give me the info I needed for that, but then asked if I was sure I wanted to complain because lots of people like touching babies here. Usually the mom isn't upset about it. I was literally flabbergasted that she would say that to me, so I turned around and left the whole god-darn hospital because I could feel a nuclear breakdown coming. I called the hospital later and explained what happened and that I needed to reschedule. The woman on the phone apologized on behalf of the hospital and said she would file the complaint for me. Now that I've simmered down, I do feel sort of Karen-ish because I've never filed a complaint about anyone before, but I'm still so mad about the way they talked to me at the clinic. The bottom line here is they did not respect OP and their boundaries. Who gives a crap what every other person there wanted? OP said they didn't want you touching their baby. End of story. After getting pissed off at the first person, if that person at the counter said that to me, they say, well, most mothers don't mind people touching their babies. I would want to look them right dead square in the eyes and say, who gives a Anyway, I think dealing with a 7-month-old as it is hard enough. I think OP's definitely not the jerk. And our final story of the day is from Economy Assist 6973. Am I the jerk for telling a bride it was not that difficult for people to upstage her at her wedding? My family and I are from Albania, but we live in the US. My cousin David got married to his wife Lizzie this weekend. In Albania, we always go all out for weddings, and David wanted to keep many cultural traditions. Lizzie didn't like the idea. Lizzie had sent out the invites via mail and also had some rules written down, as in no kids allowed, black tie dress code, absolutely no +1s unless both bride and groom approve of the +1. I'm engaged, and I thought my fiancé would be included, but David said Lizzie is against +1. I said that even if Lizzie is against it, my fiancé's been in the family for years. Way longer than Lizzie's been around, plus he's a friend of David's as well, so he would come as a friend. David was frustrated and said Lizzie had set down most of these rules, and whenever he goes against her, she gets mad, so we should cut him some slack and just bear it for his sake. I thought it was ridiculous how he didn't stand up for himself, but not my business after all. All of my Albanian side-eyed the fact that the wedding was kid-free because we're used to involving kids at weddings. The bride and her family refused to make any compromises about it and show respect to David and his wishes. But again, none of our business despite our frustration. Despite the black tie dress code, most of the bride's family turned up in jeans and flannel shirts, and the women just wore casual maxi dresses. Our side of the family dressed more formal. The bride just wore a white knee-length lace dress from H&M. The reception took place in a cabin by the lake, which had animal head trophies hanged on the walls. The only music we heard was some slow pop songs and then country music. Every time the DJ tried to play some traditional Balkan music, the bride's family would get him to change it. The bride also made a big deal out of the fact that we were dressed formal and how we overdid it. We upstaged her. She kept complaining about it all night long and was throwing tantrums to David about how we, as his family, are very disrespectful. Lizzie also implied that David's sister looks like a high-end escort with her outfit, but David's sister tried to keep it together for David's sake. After constant insults thrown around all night long, I told her to chill out. She said she won't chill out because we disrespected her. I told her, first of all, if she was scared she was going to be upstaged, she shouldn't have requested black tie dress code. Secondly, to be honest, it was not that hard to upstage her because I've seen grandma dresses fancier than the one she's wearing, so she's the one underdressed for her own wedding, which was supposed to be a black tie event. David's entire family sided with me, but David said that I'm the jerk for speaking to the bride like that on her wedding day. I told him that if the bride requires kindness, she should start from herself. Am I the jerk? I think OP is definitely not the jerk here, and I don't know if Lizzie even knew what Lizzie wanted. They say black tie event, and they all dress in not even business casual. Don't let people bring their fiancés as +1s. Doesn't respect the groom's traditions and heritage. I mean, from start to finish, this whole thing was a foster cluck. Who knows what plan Lizzie had? Did Lizzie even have a plan? Seems like they kind of just threw crap at the wall and said, that's what I want. And I'm gonna brand it my wedding, and I'm gonna be upset at everybody else for somehow not getting the picture. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another Am I the Jerk Here story that was way crazier than any of the ones in this video, click on that left video. Or if you missed my latest video, click on the right. That said though, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.